I'm mad as hell. I mean, you just don't know how mad I am. But on the other hand, I'm not saying that because he did that, he's done what he's accused of.
Today, Alex Murdaugh's longtime friend and colleague took the stand for the defense. Mark Ball let out his frustrations and grief concerning Murdaugh.
Now, the state jumped on this to remind the jury of the defendant's long list of alleged financial crimes. Investigative reporter Ann Emerson was in that courtroom. And Ann, how did the jury react to Attorney Ball today?
Well, at times, Mark Ball was visibly upset about the apparent betrayal of his longtime friend and colleague, Alex Murdaugh. And that anger showed up on some of the jurors' faces who were staring directly across the courtroom at the defendant. Now, we want to warn you that some of Mark Ball's testimony today was graphic.
Just went to pieces. He's Alex 6'4", 6'5", whatever he is, and I'm 5'9". He pretty well smothers you when he hugs you.
Mark Ball got to the scene of the double murders soon after Alex called 911.
I'm trying to console him and patting him on the back, and he said, look at what they did to them. I mean, just right off the bat.
And Ball supported the defense theory that the crime scene was mishandled the night of and the days after the murders of Maggie and Paul.
There was a piece of Paul's skull about the size of a baseball laying there.
Did that upset you?
It did, very much.
But the truth that Ball now says Alex hid from him bubbled up and ran over that courtroom.
And did he deny ever going down to those kennels to his buddy and law partner of 34 years?
That kennel video has now placed Alex at the scene of the crime at 8:44 p.m.
He said that he ate dinner, laid down on the couch, took a nap, and then left to check on him.
And now you know that's not true from seeing the kennel video, right?
I do.
And that wasn't the only time he told you that, is it?
No, at least 3 times.
At least 3 times. And this would be over the subsequent days?
Yes, sir.
Then 2 days before the botched suicide attempt.
Listen, when September the 2nd hit, it changed everything that I knew about Alex.
That's when Ball told the jury he discovered Alex was stealing millions.
I would have never believed that a guy that was like family would have ever stolen from me, would have stolen from his family, would have stolen from his clients, or any of that. You've got this rage, this emotion that you've got, and then on the 3rd, we go through this whole ordeal of determination, and then the 4th it hits, and you're like, did the jack kill himself?
At that point, the damage was done.
And you've been subpoenaed here today to testify in the murder case, correct?
I've been subpoenaed since this trial started.
And you know this is the murder case?
Yes, sir.
Well, this afternoon we heard from a couple more defense experts, one in crime scene, one on cell phone, and we also heard from another housekeeper that worked for Alex's parents. And just a little bit, we'll be speaking to our exclusive legal analyst, Charlie Condon, to find out how effective those witnesses were today. Reporting live in Walterboro, I'm Ann Emerson. Back to you.
Thank you, Ann. And the defense suggested Murdaugh could take the stand tomorrow, but they had this request for the judge this morning.
What we're asking is for an order excluding the state from being able to question Mr. Murdaugh on cross-examination matters related to the financial crimes that's been put before the court under Rule 404B if we don't testify about those on direct examination.
The state argued any questions would be fair game if Murdaugh testifies. The judge said he would not make any ruling in advance, instead choosing to address objections as they come.
And I told him we'd get through it.
We are halfway through the defense's case in the Alex Murdaugh murder trial. Alex, friend of 30 years, and at one time a former law partner, took the stand today. Tara Jabor is live now outside the Colleton County Courthouse. Now, Tara, before we get into that big testimony, who did we hear from this afternoon?
Katie, Kenneth Zersey took the stand today. He's a crime scene expert for the defense, and he really started to pick apart that crime scene and the investigation that started on June 7, 2021. That's the night that Maggie and Paul were murdered. Now, Zersey, he walked the jury through how he believes a proper crime scene should be preserved and processed. But Zersey wasn't the only person on the stand today to criticize the investigation by the state into the death of Maggie and Paul. We also heard from Mark Ball. He's known Alec for 34 years, and they were law partners for about 20 years. Ball says he got to the scene around 10:50 the night of the murders, since he lives less than 10 miles away. He ended up staying at the property until 3 or 4 a.m., then came back around 11 a.m. Now, Ball says he was not happy with how that crime scene was handled, from the lack of barricades around the property to how he says investigators handled Paul's body. Let's hear from both people about the crime scene.
Looking at it, did they do a terrible job here? Did they do a less, terrible is the wrong word. Let me get it more scientific. An adequate job to show the absence of, at the minimum, the absence of any other evidence. They do an adequate job to eliminate.
I don't believe so.
What?
I don't believe so.
Okay. And that's your expert opinion.
Correct.
Okay.
That much more could have been done.
The fact
grass
that
was
you
wet.
observed water dripping off the roof onto Paul's body, did that concern you?
It did. It did.
Why?
Well, one, I didn't think that, it's a crime scene. You don't want just water dripping all over the place, but more importantly, I thought it was pretty disrespectful. I mean, Paul was a good young man, and I, quite frankly, it just pissed me off.
But when cross-examination came, lead prosecutor Creighton Waters came out strong, focusing in on that notion that nobody truly knew Alex Murdaugh. He asked Ball about that video on Paul Murdaugh's phone at 8:44 p.m. the night of the murders. The video from the dog kennels puts Alex, Maggie, and Paul together within minutes of when the state says Maggie and Paul were murdered.
And did he deny ever going down to those kennels to his buddy and law partner of 34 years?
He said that he ate dinner, laid down on the couch, took a nap, and then left to check on him.
And now you know that's not true from seeing the kennel video, right?
I do.
And coming up tonight at 6, our Ann Emerson, she'll tell us more about Mark Ball's testimony and how it may have helped the state. Plus, former South Carolina Attorney General Charlie Condon will tell us what this means big picture for the double murder trial.